Six Nations gets underway this evening, and ahead of that there is a new survey looking into the sport. It seems rugby fans, according to the survey, are the friendliest sports fans from across the nation. Apparently that's what they say. They also think the Six Nations can help you learn about other cultures, and that the position of wing...
Well, 5 other cultures.
Yes, the position of wing is the easiest to play in, which I'm sure went down well with our next guest, former England wing, Ugo Monye. Hi, Ugo.
How you doing, gents? All right?
Yeah. Good. So, yeah, it's very easy to stand out there waiting for the ball to come along, just sort of hang about there, don't you? Getting chalk on your boots, basically.
Exactly that. I would say the hardest skill in rugby and football is definitely scoring a try or scoring a goal, because the best teams seem to be able to do it and the worst teams aren't so good at it. So regardless of what that stat might say, I might just humbly disagree.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for rugby fans being the friendliest, they say. I mean, no, you know, most rugby games do pass off without incident, don't they?
Yeah, do you know what? I would agree with that, purely because, I mean, the rivalry of the Six Nations, for example, it's the oldest or most historical rugby competition in the planet. It's England against Italy, England against Wales next week, and you could be in the pub hours before the game with Welsh men and women enjoying beers, Guinness Zeros, whatever you fancy, walk to the stadium together, come back, and you won't ever see any trouble. So I do love the fact that it can be really inclusive. And Jake Quickenden, formerly of X Factor, and I, we actually had a little tour. We went on a Greene King Guinness Six Nations tour. So we visited Cardiff, Edinburgh, Dublin, London, Rome, and Leon. Visited all the Greene King pubs there to see whether that was true. And the takeaway and the feedback was absolutely right.
Fantastic. What a great gig.
Absolutely.
I bet that's dry January.
I bet when the agent phoned, hello, Ugo, it's would you like to go around? We go to a lot of pubs around Great Britain. Yeah, I'll give it a go. That's good. So on to tonight.
What I find strange about this is but on to tonight, and this is probably the biggest game in the Six Nations. It seems an odd thing, and you knew these two are the strongest. When do they decide the fixture list? Because this would have been much better being the last game than the first game.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm a little bit with you. To use an example from Wimbledon, it'd be like Djokovic against Nadal, round 1, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You'd be like, wow. You know, it's a blockbuster way of being able to kick it off. And I think obviously rugby competes against so many other sports. We've had a back-to-back week of Premier League football, but what a way to be able to grab attention by having the two favourites, the Grand Slam champions in Ireland, up against France, who won it the year before, and of course just recently hosted the Rugby World Cup. So it does feel quite titanic. Mind you, France's last game is against England, and we're still hoping there's going to be a lot to play for come round 5.
There seems to be nothing between these two. You wonder if just home advantage might shade it for France.
I think that's great analysis of it. The bookies can't split them, but we know in elite sport it is those fine moments. It could be a mistimed tackle, a bad pass, one bit of ill discipline, bit of mental fatigue. That could be it, because in terms of quality, there's really nothing separating these two teams, and that's why tonight feels so fascinating to have that sense of jeopardy all the way through the match.
And France aren't as flaky as they used to be. The cliche was you never know which France are going to turn up, but you sort of do these days, don't you?
Yeah, you know, you're spot on. I played against France at home, and we spoke about it in the week. If we get into them early, these lot won't want to be here. That's just not the case. Sean Edwards, formerly of Wales, he's now their defensive coach, and he seems to have added this rod of steel right throughout their team. They're tough, mentally so resilient, and whether they're home or away, they hugely compete. So that's not a thing that you have to contend with these days with them.
Italy, England tomorrow afternoon, Ugo, and they made the big call at 10 and went with George Ford. Do you think that was a good call?
Yeah, it was. You know, Marcus Smith got ruled out earlier this week, who I think would have started at 10. And when you lose that general, to be able to lean upon the experience of George Ford, who's been to multiple World Cups, got 80 caps, just solidifies that, because we've got 5 new Davidsons in the side, but in some positions I think you do need a little bit of an experienced hand. You've got Finn Smith on the bench, who's been flying high for Northampton Saints. He'll hopefully come on and be able to expose those fatigue in the Italians' legs. So I like the makeup of this team. I am really excited. I'm also probably more excited about trying to understand how they're going to go and approach this game tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? You said with so many new faces, and England, haven't lost to Italy, but there is always a first time, so they're going to have to be at it, aren't they?
I hope tomorrow's not that first time.
No.
I'd be devastated. I highly doubt it will be. Italians will really fancy themselves. Just heard the breaking news that Ange Capozzo, he's the superstar of their game. He's just been ruled out, but they've got a brand new coach in. The way in which they play is highly attractive, aesthetically pleasing, just doesn't bring results. Didn't win a game last year, won the wooden spoon. For people that know what the wooden spoon is, it feels a bit weird actually, but you get the wooden spoon for finishing bottom. Italy have won it more times than anyone. In fact, they've only won 12 matches in over 100 games, Six Nations. So I doubt England are going to be that team to bow to Italy tomorrow, and hoping they start on a positive way and start developing that momentum, which is much needed.
And finally, Scotland have not won in Cardiff for 22 years, but you wonder whether this could be the weekend.
It feels like their time. It really does. But as a pundit, I've said this so many times about Scotland, but this has to be their opportunity. Scotland probably the most settled squad, least amount of changes going into Six Nations, huge amount of confidence. And if Scotland want to achieve and get to the levels where they think they can get to, it feels like, it's weird, but the pressure feels more so on Scotland tomorrow than the home nation Wales. So a massive fixture, brilliant blockbuster game starting tonight. I'm actually on my way to the airport because I'm heading out to Rome now to cover the game tomorrow, and I can't wait for it all to kick off.
Fantastic. Good to talk to you, Hugo. Thanks very much. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Nice one. Cheers, gents.
Take care. There's Hugo Monnier there, doing a bit of work with Greene King, our old sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
And, it gets underway this evening. We'll keep you in touch with that, of course, on talkSPORT this evening. It's Thank Friday, it's football with Jason Cundy and Rory Jennings, but I'm sure they will be keeping a close eye on what's going on in that France-Ireland game. It's Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Merlin Harewood, this is the Arturo Vidal, dressed up as a knight from Camelot and rode round the pitch as he returned to his boyhood club Colo Colo in Chile. Hatem King Arthur. Sorry, he's coughing his way through it. That's all right. Hatem King Arthur, says Mark in Sunderland. That's rather good. William the Conqueror. Do you like that one, Andy?
That's good.
Greg, yeah, that's right. And he's done a sandwich. He's got David Egg Mayo. Okay. Gawain Rooney. Do you like that one?
Gawain Rooney. Not bad.
Yeah,
that's I've got one here, but I haven't.
Tim in Leon C. And Kylian Mbappe. Oh, that's very good. But you didn't put your name on it. So, come on, let's have your sandwich-based sports stars. And indeed, your chivalry of players. I mean, we'll take other sports. We'll stick to football ideally, but we'll open out. It is Friday. We'll take a few liberties. Beth Mead says Mitch the Spurs fan. Is 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 Mitch